Well, the government is celebrating a groundbreaking win for its plain packaging cigarette laws in the High Court today. The decision means that by December, cigarette packets, as we know them, will be a thing of the past. But legal experts warn there's still a strong chance international legal challenges could force the government to pay compensation to big tobacco. Political correspondent Tom Iggulden reports from Canberra.
The government says it was always confident it'd win, but it had reason to be nervous after the High Court ruled against its Malaysia solution last year. Relief was palpable.
For anyone who has lost someone to smoking, this one's for you.
All of the arguments that were presented by Big Tobacco in trying to convince our government not to proceed with this action, I think have been disproved today.
We still believe it's very bad law. And there's a number of serious unintended consequences.
But tobacco companies say they will comply with the law, and in a world first, cigarettes will only be legally sold in plain packets. But they're sticking to their argument about illegal sales of counterfeit cigarettes.
They'll be easy to copy, they'll be easy to smuggle in down from boats from Indonesia and all across Asia and across the borders, and then sold on the streets of Sydney and Melbourne. We all know that the organised crime groups, they don't ask for kids for ID.
What you see is a tobacco industry that realises its business model of recruiting young smokers is in trouble, and they reach for any straw.
And the government released this British-made ad to show the effect cigarette packaging has on children.
I think this one looks actually quite pretty. Yeah, pink, pink, pink.
It looks girly, I just like it.
The pictures actually look quite nice. Ice cubes and mint. It makes you feel like you're in a wonderland of happiness.
Britain's one of several countries looking to follow Australia's lead.
A victory for the industry in the High Court of Australia, I think, could have been quite damaging to those kinds of investigations in other countries.
New Zealand's government's in the middle of deciding whether or not it'll go ahead with plain packaging. Wellington says it's heartened by the High Court decision in Canberra today. But today's decision is not the end of the legal road for tobacco companies.
The constitutional challenge before the High Court was, if you like, an afterthought to a degree.
Legal action against Australia in the World Trade Organisation and through a free trade agreement with Hong Kong could tarnish the government's High Court win, potentially forcing it to pay multi-billion-dollar compensation to tobacco companies.
So we don't even get 5 minutes of questions on our win today. Come on, guys.
The compensation decision against Australia would be likely to deter other countries, though cigarette companies say they're not involved in the moves.
It's a country-to-country matter, so those countries that have lodged against Australia are obviously taking the issue very seriously.
But the government says Big Tobacco is behind the international action against it.
It's time for the tobacco companies to get on with implementation and to stop trying to challenge this measure further in our international courts.
Our priority all along has been the High Court. We're a legal company, we sell a legal product, and we'll make sure that we comply to all laws from the 1st of December.
But legal experts say the international action offers tobacco companies a better chance of success than their High Court challenge in Canberra, where their argument was seen as weak ahead of today's decision.
Without a lot of precedent, it would have taken a big step for the High Court to have ruled in their favour today.
Not so with World Trade Courts.
That's an area which is quite rich with litigation and precedent, not necessarily on the tobacco area, but in a whole range of other areas, and no doubt they'll be seeking to exploit that.
We have always argued that governments should be entitled to implement public health measures, and we will argue that strongly in any forum that we're required to.
The wider issue here is what else the government could decide is a public health danger and change the rules on how it's sold. The Attorney-General says there are no such plans for junk food or alco-pops, arguing tobacco's a special case because it kills even in moderation. Tom Iggulden, Late Line.